Welcome back to the Rack Pack. We are a modular synthesizer podcast. If you're looking for a podcast about garage racks or car racks, you have taken a wrong turn. We are going to talk about synthesizers. We are here in person today in Hollywood. This is a special episode for us because we are talking right after Buchla and Friends. We had our friend Metamyther in town. We decided to get together. The Rack Pack itself is a little bit trimmed down today. We're missing Jeffy, who's out of town, and Mark, who couldn't make it to Buchla and Friends this year. But we do have our synth historian, the man, Stu J.
Hello, hello.
Good to have you here, Stu.
Good to be here.
We have our resident journalist and media liaison, Alex.
Yeah. Hey, everyone.
And I'm going to introduce our guest today, Tristan. Tristan is a friend of the pod. He is an amazing modular artist. He's put out an album, I think, at least one a year for the last 6 or 7 or 8 years. His music is great. He plays a ton live in New York City, where he's from. He's played at the Colorado Synthwave Festival. He's played at KnobCon. He also has an up-and-coming YouTube channel that we're going to talk about and get into. So, Tristan, a.k.a. Metamyther, thank you for being with us.
I'm so glad to be here, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, man. Welcome.
Yeah, so psyched.
Yeah. I want to start with this moniker you have, Metamyther, because it's interesting to me. I don't know if you and I have ever actually talked about it, but I am a big Joseph Campbell fan. Joseph Campbell, for those of you who don't know, was an academic at Sarah Lawrence College in New York, and he studied mythology. And he, one of the things he discovered was that there are these myths that are in common all over the world that are
Hero's Journey guy,
like the
right?
Hero's Journey,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
guy who inspired George Lucas to do Star Wars. And of course, we're here in Hollywood where that story is important. And in my other life as a neuroscientist, one of the things I study is how the brain makes sense of story. So how did you end up landing on this as like your musical?
Yeah, I started reading a lot of Joseph Campbell, and I loved this hero's journey thing and its parallels to the 3-act structure. And I started thinking about how myths can have both a positive and a negative connotation, and that we have, like you said, these common myths. And so to come up with the name, first of all, just practically, I wanted to get whatever the artist name was, .com, Bandcamp, Instagram, right?
Yeah, that is not easy.
Yeah, it's really not. Like, starting a band.
So it was available.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's like a total practical thing. you know?
Totally.
Like I wouldn't start a band. I wouldn't advise a band to start Tool, because it's like you're going to come up with Home Depot links.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, so then I wanted to kind of create this word that was a sort of amalgam of all my interests. So the meta part of it, I love meta fictional works like House of Leaves, for example. Like if you ever read that one, just stuff like that. Cloud Atlas, right?
Right, yeah.
So I wanted it to be this entity that was sort of working on myths, which can be positive or negative, and then the at the end makes it a sort of action, right? So there's a meta myth entity, and then the Metamyther is.
But does that relate at all to the kind of music you were making? Because I listened to your music, and there is like a dramatic element to it.
Yeah, very much so. All of my music is written in 3 distinct movements, which sort of mirrors the 3-act structure, or I almost think of my tracks as kind of films, where you're setting up the instruments in the beginning, which are your main characters, and then they sort of evolve and then evolve again into a resolution, which is sometimes a climax. What's interesting is the form as I've started to develop it. In the beginning, I really had to develop the grammar of it to be like, what happens in the second movement? Do we switch completely tempos, keys, instruments, or do we kind of stick with the main characters and develop them through to the end? And I wound up at the latter.
You've got like 17th, 18th century roots in your 3-act structure, right? The sonata is...
Which goes back to, like, I grew up playing piano, classical piano. So I'm classically trained. So I'm kind of bringing that sort of structure into a modern context with electronic sounds.
Let's get into that history. So you're classically trained. How do you end up doing electronic music?
I kind of bring it back to like the original Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I mean, I got that when I was, probably 5 years old. So it just instilled this electronic music into my brain, and I kind of just never let go of it since then, really.
When did you start making it, though?
Yeah.
Probably around like 12 years old or so. There was this like really weird MIDI production studio, and I had like, one of those Yamaha keyboards that just had like 500 sounds on it, but you couldn't change the sounds at all. So
just like presets.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, you have like your synth brass and stuff, or like, a really crappy version of a trumpet or something.
We all had one of those things, right?
I think we did, yeah.
I was trying to remember if Mario World was 8-bit or 16-bit.
I don't know.
That's 16-bit.
16-bit?
Yeah, because that's Super Nintendo.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
The classic sound.
I mean, come on, we all play that stuff. Come on.
I wasn't allowed to have Nintendo.
Who were when you were playing classical music? What kind of composers did you gravitate toward?
I gravitated toward more the romantic period, so it was like Schumann and Brahms. This was like kind of the first time where the compositions weren't labeled with like numbers, right? Like Bach and Beethoven and Mozart, they're all like sonata in C sharp number 173, so it's just like, it wasn't honestly like playing classical music wasn't something that I enjoyed. It was kind of like this chore that, my sort of tiger parents put on me, but I'm glad that they did now. Right. Yeah. But in the moment, I couldn't really appreciate it, I think, as much.
Do you find, because Stu, you're also trained in piano.
Yeah.
Do you find, I know you like to mess with your not mess with, but you use your Buchla keyboard as a main interface, but I feel like I've seen you testing a lot of different sequencers, a lot of different interaction points with sequencing music. Do you find yourself doing that because you have such a good classical training in the keys that you don't necessarily gravitate toward the keys? You want to explore new areas?
Yeah, I was just talking on the NIMS Discord about this. Like, I feel like the trend right now, for example, is like there's a lot of weird instruments that are coming out, right? Like, just that we've seen at Buchla, like it just.
Soma.
I'm thinking of the Soma heavy metal, oh man.
Or even the clank, or the Terra,
the Uranograph.
What was that? Do you guys see that weird one at this past Buchla Friends that was like wooden, and you could depress? It was like a circle of fifths, but more than the fifths. And it was like a chord machine, and it was really beautiful.
Yeah, they look like teeth, right?
They look like teeth. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't get to play with that. I was like trying to find it. Okay. It was here, right?
It was here. We'll put it on the overlay.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's like I'm very interested in these kind of weird tools, but I also want sort of like versatility, and I just kind of want them to be like forever machines. To your question, it was like, I'm sort of skeptical about some of these. Like just give me a keyboard, at the end of the day. But like, and I want that sort of versatility of a synthesizer. Now, what were we just talking about? The different sequencers, right? Yeah. Like a lot of that too comes with, I think, like I'm realizing now I don't want to necessarily like plug in the exact sequences for like drums. I kind of want to like have something that's kind of like a collaborator. So I really like Stolper beats for that, which is, it really feels like you're just kind of like feeling your way through it. Or I just got the 4 Bricks Rook, which is kind of like that too. It's I think it's actually discontinued now from Shackmat. Yeah. I think they're making a Mark II. That's why.
That is the quickest module I ever purchased and then returned.
Sold.
I brought it home.
I was like, nope.
I was like, I can't even get a 4 on the floor without looking something up.
Yeah. One thing I noticed. No.
Okay.
I was gonna say. I remember when we talked to Serco and he was pronouncing it like really soft, like Shachmat. Instead of so is that the I was wondering because I was coming with a hard K. I wasn't sure if that's the proper
that's like
pronunciation.
It's the original word for it's the Persian word for checkmate. So Shachmat, checkmate.
Rook for
interesting.
Yeah, so like all of their modules are based on that.
In fairness, that issue was mine. No disrespect to their modules. I have some of their modules.
No.
Well, all his Mark IIs now have kind of preset recall and a bunch of really useful features, right? Yeah.
But that's like your rhythm sequencing. How do you do melodic sequencing?
With the melody stuff, I've been using the Oxy sequencer for a while, and I have basically like a what do you call it? The Arturia key step, and in the middle is the Oxy sequencer, and I use that as a live looper.
I see.
So I can kind of be diddling around on a voice. You can actually select like the MIDI channel that you're on with the Arturia.
Okay.
So I'll have typically 3 voices set up for like, let's say a live set, and then the 4th is where I'm doing my drums. But now I might offload that to the Rook.
So that's the KeyStep Pro then.
Just the regular KeyStep
okay,
37.
okay.
Yeah, you could still. So basically, it's like you can press Shift 1, 2, or 3, basically,
switch the MIDI channel,
and it will select it on the Oxy, and then it sends the information out.
How do you describe your music? Like people who haven't heard it before, like genre-wise,
Yeah.
what are you making?
I just say it's cinematic industrial.
Cinematic
Ooh.
industrial.
Yeah.
that's good. I like that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good term.
I used to have like a different elevator pitch. I was like, what if Nine Inch Nails wrote the Blade Runner soundtrack? But now it's like, I like this like very succinct 2-word thing. And you're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. Because industrial to me is very sort of aggressive and kind of heavy hitting rhythms and stuff. Whereas cinematic is a bit more cerebral, right? Like melodically driven and perhaps like modulates keys and so on.
Industrial.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Are those the genres that you gravitate towards listening to in your own personal life?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. Like one of my favorite bands is Skinny Puppy. And like, you know, for anybody that's their favorite band, that's like the only band that they listen to. It is kind of like heretical for me to say that I like a lot of their later album stuff, which a lot of the hardcore fans don't. But there's so much great production and just like weird sound choices and decisions that they make. It's very frenetic and stuff. That's like, I love that stuff. Another artist I really like is Murkoff, who does this amazing cinematic stuff.
Like, we don't know any of these artists.
Oh, I'm laughing because it's a great name. Murkoff.
It is a good name.
Sounds dirty.
No, but I just any artist that came into being like past 1997. I have no idea, but I'm such an old man.
But normally when we do
I want to hear about Murkoff.
Yeah, no, I mean, he just makes these amazing cinematic stuff. And lately he's been doing kind of more that sort of giallo 80s, 70s sound, you know, like that, like Suspiria kind of vibe, you know? So yeah, he's been like really leaning into that. He's great. Yeah.
Cool.
I want to hear more about your live rig. So when you're going out to play live, is it like mostly modular stuff aside from the Oxy?
Yeah, so I have a couple of different sort of configurations. If I'm doing like a purely modular thing, then I'll have like a IntelliGel, 104 HP case, and then I have like what I call the support case, which houses the Zoom L6 mixer, the Arturia, and the Oxy.
Nice.
Okay. I want to ask like one of the most technical, ridiculously nerdy questions that we've ever had on this. We're allowed to, right? We can do this.
We'll see where it ranks.
Yeah.
So far, we've never asked anything nerdy.
We've had some pretty good ones.
The Zoom L6 mixer.
Yeah.
Right. I think we all have it.
I remember the deep dive video. Okay.
You've been doing like a real investigation into which channels can support Eurorack levels and which can't. What is the verdict here? Like.
Yeah, so for a while, I was just running every channel just from the Eurorack into it because I really believe in like a stem workflow, like every single voice, like kick, snare, hat, every bass, lead, they're all given separate channels. So it obviously gets eaten up a lot, right, because there's stereo voices. What I thought with the 32-bit recording is that you actually cannot clip the signal. But then I did a couple of videos where some of the commenters were complaining that the signal was clipped. And I was like, well, how could this be? And so it is actually possible to clip them. It's kind of like this weird thing where it's like you think you have lossless recording, but you can actually clip it.
And this is 32-bit float.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. I watched your video, and then suddenly I'm reading all the deep dive articles on Zoom's website.
Right.
So that was
It is
interesting.
a little bit misleading. I don't think it was intentional or malicious on their part. I think that they really thought that it would be used by like podcasters. Like I think like modular users, like even though they created that like thing where you could house it in the modular, I think that they were like, well, they're only going to be using channels 1 and 2. The channels 1 and 2 have the dual converters, so it is able to handle modular levels.
So we're talking about now, like before the analog to digital conversion happens, some clipping can take place.
Yeah.
So then when it's converted into 32-bit float, you've already lost the high end of whatever.
Right. So I guess I was unclear about whether the 32-bit float would retain that.
Got it.
Because coming out of the modular, right, it's not necessarily clipped. It's just hot, right?
But they've got a max version of the L6 now, don't they?
Yeah, this is what I recommend now for anybody doing modular, because all of the dual channels have a minus 20 dB attenuation.
Nice.
So I think that that's going to hopefully save the
Okay.
issues.
Okay, good.
When you're using so just so I'm understanding the relationship between the keyboard and the Oxy, you're not programming on the Oxy at all. You're feeding it MIDI through the keyboard, but you still bring your keyboard to your gigs.
Right. Yeah. Recently, I have been going in with no melodic material, so I might go in with some drum patterns. But this is so that I can kind of create all the melodies like sort of on the fly, which gets me a bit closer to the material. And it also creates this like interesting magic trick for the audience where I'm playing something, I hit record, I'm playing a sequence, and then I can step away and it continues to loop, and then I can screw around with the knobs.
Another risk taker, flying by the seat of your pants in front of people. I just can't do it.
It's interesting. It just seems to be like a theme of the people that we have on that are doing a lot of live performing. You're not like worried that you're going to come up with a crappy melody or it's not going to sound good, or
yeah, I don't know, because it's like I sort of have like, okay, I'm going to play in this key and I'm going to maybe hit the root and the fifth in these times. It all like builds up organically, right? So I might start with, let's say, a drone, and then I might just kind of plod my way through like a bass line and just kind of get something that I'm feeling in the moment. And then when I have that as a bass line, then I'm like, okay, well, I sort of know what I just played, and I can layer tastefully on top of that like a lead line, and it's also about like, you don't have to have every single eighth note gunning, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big one. The problem with this method is that it doesn't really result in a lot of melodic variation, which I'm really interested in.
Okay.
So that's where, like for the modular world set, I use the Proteus in.
Hey.
It's actually right here.
This episode is sponsored by Seaside Modular.
It's perfect
Show
timing.
them what it looks like.
If you're new to the podcast,
You're new to the
this
podcast.
is Jonas's module.
This is the Proteus, the wonderful melody maker that can make a melody and play around with it. But I mean, the Oxy does that too, right?
Yeah, in a way, but sort of not in the way that I want to use it. Like you have that sort of, forget what it's called, the matricial mode or the
Matricial,
or the other one where it's like it just has a
It's like a stochastic.
yeah. So it has like
probability of each note.
probability meters for all your notes. I never really use that because it is like kind of random. What I kind of want is I record a sequence, right? And then I say, okay, 25% of this entire sequence that I just recorded, pick a new note and quantize it to the scale that I'm in.
Right.
That's sort of like my white whale. And what I found that kind of does this the best, I think, is the mimetic digit two-less.
Noise engineering.
Yeah.
Great module.
So what you can do with that is you can shred individual steps, and you can actually like kind of automate that from, let's say, an Oxy sequence, or you can actually just press it, right?
Right.
So then it just kind of like lightly or heavily evolves the sequence. And that's kind of like, that's sort of what I'm really into. I know a lot of electronic music is obviously like loop based, but I'm kind of trying to, I guess it's about like my boredom. I don't know.
No, it's about everyone's boredom. That if you hear something over and over and over again, it's like there's some point at which.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes we talk about trends and kind of where things are going, and this idea of the different approaches of generative sequencing and using technology to find new ways to write music is really the exploratory aspect of it is wonderful.
Yeah, I feel like we went from a period of it's the year of the mixer recently, and now it's the year of the generative sequencer.
It was like the year of the mixer, year of the enormous modules, and now I think it's like year of like weird gear,
Okay, well, so there's something that came up. We were just at Buchla Friends. Buchla Friends, we've mentioned it on the last episode, is this synth trade show that was a offshoot from NAMM. And it was a really great event that was held in downtown LA here. Lots of people showed up. It was really exciting. One of the themes that came up over and over again was artificial intelligence and the role that AI plays in music creation now. A bunch of people came up to my table and read my sign, which says it's an algorithmic sequencer. And we're like, does that mean it's AI? And nobody ever asked me that before. But like now, because that's on everybody's mind, that's like what
Is it, or has it just been keyword fed to them from every single interaction interface they
Well, I
have
mean,
on their
In every
computer?
marketing
Yeah.
strategy.
Like my
just
mom's
say
talking
AI.
about Copilot. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
do you need a
Coffee table,
Copilot?
it's AI.
Well, I was right across from the Polyan table,
I
and
was about to say,
they have this new thing where you were describing an effect to an LLM, and it makes the code for you, and then puts it in a hardware pedal.
Wow.
And so you have this little hardware pedal that is AI.
you're
generated.
vibe coding in effect,
You're vibe
essentially,
coding,
is what
yeah.
you're doing,
Yeah,
which,
yeah.
which,
Wow.
I don't know. It was funny that the first way I saw that on my Instagram feed was Jorb Loves Gear was like, I kind of fucking hate this idea. He was basically like, I want to see your best sound designer's take on what they think a delay or reverb should be. I don't want Jeff's, describing a lush reverb and how that turns out. But on the same side, they are trying to push things forward. I don't know. I'm definitely skeptical about it. I'm not trying to be too negative, but
Well, I mean, I think your reaction, a lot of people seem to have a visceral reaction against this idea. Like it just like doesn't seem right. But I'm wondering in what sense we might be able to use these tools in a positive way, because I also heard a lot of stories over the weekend of manufacturers using AI in ways that were actually helpful to them.
Yeah.
Like, instead of reading a 200-page manual on some console, I could have it, read it for me, and I can ask it questions.
you can notebook
So,
LM it.
what do you think, Stu?
About AI
Yeah.
and where we're going. Look, I do think this is unique in history. What's not unique is fear of change like this, whether it's going from horse to car, from hand drawn animation to CGI. It's always the end of the world. This one is uniquely
This one may actually be
frightening,
the end
though.
of the world.
Right? I mean, there are two ways we can address this question. I can tell you how I feel about the idea of I have a gig coming up in 10 minutes. I left my delay at home. Pedal, make a delay. Make it sound like people's minds are going to be blown, and put granular in it. Like, there's that AI, and then there's, the AI just figured out how to kill us all, and it's going to do it, right? So it's hard to, sometimes I have difficulty separating those two.
From making a delay and killing you.
Well, I mean, AI is a very broad. Here's the thing. Nobody ever said, "Wow, CGI. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between a fake, a drawn lion and a real lion." People are going to lose their jobs, but nobody ever said at some point that lion's going to come out of the screen and bite our heads off. So, I mean, we could talk about this for a long time.
I mean,
if we're sticking with gear and AI,
I can't tell which side you're coming down on yet.
Well, I think that's the point.
I have to set aside the fear of the apocalypse, the AI apocalypse, and if I'm just focusing this on music, I think, as always, the cream will rise to the top. I think if you're talking about AI and music or AI and filmmaking, unless you are a talented director or cinematographer with a vision, AI is not going to make you great. You may be able to take a shitty idea out of your head and see a shitty result more quickly. But to your point, I think those who are instrument builders, pedal designers, are likely going to be able to get us much cooler things more quickly.
Sure.
I have no concept of how to make an effect. AI is not going to help me do that, other than to make what most people would consider to be very basic and uninteresting delays, reverbs, etc. That's my speech.
Yeah, I think, what is it, the barrier to entry? That's a question mark there too.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I'm interested to see what the quality of the effects are and how they come out. What do you think? What do you think about the current application?
I feel like with all this AI stuff, it's most interesting to me when it's kind of like broken in like an interesting way. Like for example, the visual stuff is really interesting with like horror applications where you want that sort of uncanny valley to be exaggerated and actually there. So you have sort of, I don't know, like you've just seen like crazy horror imagery like through AI. And I kind of like that, so to me, that's like not a bug, it's a feature. So I think like in a similar way, like effects could be sort of perverted, and create these like really weird, nasty chains that could be kind of cool.
I gotta say, there was one night, I don't know where you guys were, but I was laying in bed laughing and trying not to wake up my wife because I was laughing so hard, just dictating AI songs into what's it called?
Oh God, I remember some of those.
Sending it to these guys.
Yeah.
But here's a theme for the Rackpad podcast, and some funny stuff coming out, but also not bad.
Not bad.
That's worrying to me because it's like
2 seconds.
there's so much source material for like pop songs or let's say techno, right? Where I actually think like they will be able to like really nicely recreate all this stuff. I mean, isn't there already like a
Totally
number
legally
one
trained
song?
on them too.
Yeah. Isn't there already like a #1 pop song that's AI?
There's definitely a pop artist who
Yeah.
Is in the
There's
charts.
an actress.
Yeah.
And
She-
if not, it's
oh, God.
definitely going to
Band.
happen within
Yeah,
12 months, right?
for
So,
sure.
Yeah.
you know, so that's kind of worrying because I'm more worried about the end user who's what we call like a lean back listener, you know, like sort of just has a playlist on for going to the gym and is not really selective about what artists they listen to. Or like, let's say a bar, right? That doesn't want to pay a DJ and just put on like a slop playlist.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, definite applications.
I'm very two minds about AI in general. Like I think we do ignore it at our peril, but you know, to me, it's like the gross part about it is all these sort of like middle managers that are like frothing at the mouth to like eliminate their entire staff and just have like a prompt do it for them. You know?
Yeah, well, how about those? Not too Debbie Downer, but yeah, the Amazon layoffs where literally the news article, they're like, we're pretty much going to replace you with generative AI.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
least we got, like,
14,000 people.
we got a night of laughter out of it before the
See,
apocalypse.
I thought you were segueing us to a fun like Buchla Friends hardware conversation, and
Hey,
we've
well,
just gone down a terrible AI rabbit hole.
Let's talk about Buchla and Friends.
Yes.
I thought it was a great show. I thought it was the third year of this show. I feel like it's really coming into its own. There were a lot of manufacturers there. The crowd was great.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, diverse crowd. There were a lot of different kinds of people there. People who knew a lot about synthesis, people who had never seen a modular synth before, kids, women. It was really nice.
This was your third year, or that was the third year
This
that
is the
they've
third
done
year
it?
of Buchla and Friends.
Oh,
This is
okay.
my first year having a table.
Wow, that's crazy because I thought they'd been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
'Cause
No,
it's
no.
actually like super put together.
Yeah,
And I would say it's probably like the best expo in the United States right now.
I think I agree with that.
Did you go last year?
I didn't. This was my
Okay.
first year.
Yeah, they definitely expanded the footprint this year.
Yeah.
New
been
new
fun
venue,
watching
Yep.
grow.
right?
New venue.
Yeah.
Beautiful new venue inside. Terrible, scary, sketchy area outside.
It's also more like Friends and Buchla because when you walk in, you will not see Buchla. They're off in the
For
closet
some reason, they hid themselves in the back.
Very humble of them.
That is
you
cool.
know?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm just there to socialize. You know?
Yeah, okay.
You know?
Yeah, it was a blast.
The-
I enjoyed speaking with you, getting to know you a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool.
That one night. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say like in addition to the show itself, there were a bunch of great shows that were planned around the show. There was a pre-show, there was an after show, there was
Yep.
like a middle show. And it
Shout
was
out
fun
to
just to hang out with everybody, to see all the people that we've gotten to know now. It's like feels like a traveling circus that just like meets in a different city every 6
Absolutely.
months or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to SoCal Synth Society. They
Yeah.
threw a couple good shows out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Travarsi,
Yep.
Abe,
Colorado people
Space
were
Racer.
in effect, you know,
Yep.
they were
Yep.
here. Yeah, and to me, it's like then you're just in LA, which I, you know, every time I come here, I enjoy it more. And so like I'm just like enjoying, you know, I have a couple of free days off, and you know, just enjoying the
And
city.
then we get to do this.
Yeah, and that.
But did
Totally.
you see anything at the show that caught your eye?
I really like the Catla, this like
Oh, yes.
with the volcanic
The
rocks.
Icelandic
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
synthesizer.
I really like that. I sat down. I had no idea how much it cost.
I was gonna say
So-
I really like it too, but do you know how much it
yeah,
costs?
now I do, and I went, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like
He was there last year too.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It is
Yeah.
really. It feels good quality. The rock thing, volcanic rock, sounds like a gimmick, but it's actually kind of a nice material.
I'm into the aesthetics, you know, because like
Yeah.
when you go to your studio, does it spark joy to just look at it,
Totally.
and does it invite you,
Yeah.
pull you in to play it, you know? So I'm okay with that.
Yep.
You know, could they have saved a couple of $1,000s by not doing the volcanic rock thing? You know, I think that
Is
might.
that is that the expensive part? I wonder.
I mean, it's probably it's
Probably
bespoke,
not.
you know. It's bespoke.
they
you
have a
know?
lot of
I
volcanoes.
mean,
Volcanic
isn't that
rock
why the
everywhere.
Terra is expensive?
is made
Because
of
it's
volcanic
they have to
rock.
source that piece of wood
Yeah,
for each
true.
one. I did notice there's a decent amount of hardware that was also at KnobCon that's
right.
come through. Cosmic Debris,
Right,
that
right.
Rune One synth with Mr. Alien.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that he just goes for it. The
full
the
send.
way. Yeah.
What are we
Yeah.
talking about?
It's this guy, Scoopy Scoop Labs
Okay.
is the name of his company.
You'll remember him from KnobCon, I think. Remember, he was in a full. He had a face covering mask, like a glittered face covering mask,
Oh,
and a
the
cape.
alien guy.
Yeah, the alien guy.
Okay, yeah.
First question
Oh,
he
he's
asked
like
me.
literally an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First question he asked me was like, "How many solar systems did you traverse to get here today?"
Yeah,
You know,
there we go.
just
He just doesn't break character.
no,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Did he try to feed you any snacks this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me one.
Of questionable origin.
Yeah, he's like, these are not psychoactive, but I'm like, oh, they kind of look a little.
They're extraterrestrial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're not of this realm.
Did you interact with the rune at NobCon at all?
No, I don't think I did.
Because I was wondering, because I didn't mess with it this time. I did mess with it a little bit last time. I'm wondering how much it's improved or evolved since Chicago.
Alex, what did you see at Buchla Friends that you liked?
I mean, for me, my favorite thing was the Exon SL. Yeah, spent a lot of time with Circo. You could tell that's like
Tell us
his
about it.
oh man, he's so stoked about that thing.
Mhm.
Definitely. And it seems like it's perfectly made, for people who are doing live electronic performance, and you're not sending
Tell folks what it is.
oh, it's an 8-channel analog out of the rack mixer. So it has compressor per channel, tilt EQ per channel, 2 sends, AB buses. I'm sure I'm forgetting
Master
some stuff.
DJ filtering.
Yeah, I was about to say master DJ filter, side chaining, individual stereo TRS out, so you can multi-track into something if you want to. It has it's just such a well thought out. It has pretty much everything you want if you're doing live performance, and they've gotten rid of a bunch of stuff you don't need. You don't need you don't need like 4 sends. You don't need a full 4-band EQ or 3-band EQ. And because it's all analog, you've got 16x of every circuit, right? Because they're stereo for 8 channels, which is wild. It's got individual resonance on the low pass and the high pass frequencies of the DJ filter. The filter has a nice center detent, which I love. So you actually don't have to, if you're anal retentive about your center position, you don't have to like have a twitch while you're performing. And they're saying it's got similar sound quality to the Model 1 or Zone 96, and a much smaller footprint, and hopefully for a little bit less money. We'll see.
When did he say it's going to be ready for?
That one, I have no clue.
He didn't say
He didn't
yet.
say?
He didn't say yet. But yeah, I'm really impressed with what those guys have been doing.
Yeah.
Because they started out making like these little patch cable patch bays, like those little
The
tiny
Patchulator.
things.
I had the V1 of the Patchulator. I remember
then
that
he got
thing.
into Eurorack modules, and now he's building these like amazing like high-end mixers, and it's just been a great, amazing journey to watch.
They have a great tuner, right? Like a utility. It's like a mixer.
I don't know. They've got their
They have like a lot of in and out modules. Like they have the ADAT stuff, and they
Optics
have
too.
the optics too,
Yep.
and they have like a injector if you want to put it like a guitar into the Eurorack. Or
yeah, they've definitely built one of the most comprehensive Eurorack mixing systems out there.
Yeah.
What do you use for your mixing?
Just the Zoom L6.
Oh, really? Okay, so nothing in rack.
No.
Okay, sub mixes. Come on, you got to have something in rack.
Not really, man,
Wow.
because like everything's kind of going out individually,
Okay.
right? So there's no sort of like drum bus or anything like that. Just everything is, I sort of set it up at home, and then on the Zoom you can actually save like 3 states. So just save it to like one of those presets. But the Zoom is nice too because I think unlike Eric Circo, he uses the mixer a lot, like when he's performing, like he uses it as kind of an instrument, whereas I don't really use that.
You're more set and forget.
Yeah, because I'm doing a lot of like usually all the voices will have filters in them, right? Or a drum voice just needs kind of like a trigger to get going, right? So it kind of decays and then it's sort of muted out, right? So I kind of more mute stuff on the Oxy to like stop stuff happening, and then I filter down to like mute something out. Yeah, so it's a completely like different use case. I mean, Eric's doing like a high intensity techno, whereas I'm kind of more, I'm just not doing that.
yeah,
So.
he played a set on Friday night with the Exon
Sure.
SL, and he was basically just playing the mixer.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a few modules there.
Yeah.
He just had a little nifty case.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of stuff going on, but
And he has a DJ background too, so
Yeah.
it sort of makes more sense for that. But yeah, I set up everything on the Zoom. What's great about it is you have one effect that you can send to like everything, so it's like a reverb or a delay, which is nice. Because sometimes I play with like, let's say the Moog Sub 37. I just want some reverb on that thing, because it's so bone dry. So that's really nice for that. You also have like EQ on it, so you can EQ out like lows.
Is that what you
and
use
stuff.
for like the really growly bass in your? I was listening to your track on the way over here.
There's a bunch of things, man. Like, there's not really like one like template. I'm constantly like changing things up. I think maybe sometimes to my detriment, but I don't want to just keep making the same track over and over again. You know, like I just have like a hang up about that. So I use the Moog Sub 37 a lot. I love the Trigon 6. I'm discovering like
That's the
what
sequential.
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's very straightforward and simple. There's no menus at all. It's like not like the Rev 2 like at all. There's no stacking or anything like that. It's just here it is. It's more like the Prophet 5 in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Where you're like turning on waveforms and stuff. And it has a Moog filter, which is unique for the sequential stuff. But it's so damn vibey. It's really nice. And I'm kind of playing around with it and basses, but then of course there's like the Vic X. I use that a lot.
Yeah, let's
You
talk
don't
about,
like that thing at all.
Has there been a module we've talked about more, other than
No,
Proteus?
but I have something important to say about the Vic X
I'm ready.
because we've been really concerned on this podcast with how to pronounce the name of the company that makes that module. Right? It's an Australian guy, but he has a name of a company which is spelled FORGE space TME. Right?
And a lot of people say Forge Time,
A lot of
right?
people say Forge Time. Some people say Forge TME. But we now have it on good authority from someone who talked to the man himself. We learned this at Buchla Friends, that it is actually Forget Me.
And I was not that source.
You
by
were
the
not
way.
that source.
Yeah,
No, no.
just to clear
It's
that.
just to be clear. We had a different source.
Interesting.
It's Forget Me, but the TME is spaced out.
I think it's
a little
Forge Tome. I
A
think it's
fourth
Forge
theory,
Tome.
a new challenger
It's
appears.
Vich.
I was
by
trying to
Forge
put this to
Tome.
rest to do. I was burying this issue.
Forget me.
did
That was
you,
unexpected.
Did you pick anything up? Did you buy anything at Buchla?
No, I did get a IDUM because I talked to Eli about that, and there's going to be some IDUM content coming
Nice.
soon for the.
That's
Stu and I
exciting.
bought the item on the same day, and I think we sold it on the same day.
And that was at Buchla and Friends.
Mystic Circuits, people.
you're
Do you want
right.
to get
It
your
was
item?
it was.
Last year's Buchla and Friends.
Or 2 years
Or
ago.
2 years
maybe.
ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. It was the first one. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
He was. I wonder if he's. I should touch base with him because I wonder what he's up to with IDOM. I don't want to go into it, but I remember he had some ideas last time we talked because I had him over at my studio and we had a really long talk about some of his modules before.
Yeah, there's going to be an update that he wants me to check out. I don't want to maybe talk about it right now. 'Cause I'm not sure if he wants to keep it, private or public. So, but yeah, there's some exciting changes. So I'm happy to help him out with that.
It'd be all AI.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
You just tell the item.
IDUM.
AI dumb. Well, one thing we kind of segued away from the Buchla and Friends thing pretty quickly, but I know you just released I think a video today on some of your favorite things from there, and maybe that's at NobCon we talked a little bit about your channel and when you decided to, hey, I'm starting this thing and I'm jumping in 10 toes deep. So how's it been going so far? How's that process been like?
Yeah, it's been really great. Intentionally, I started in January of last year, just because then I could kind of monitor what I was doing across the whole year. Since then, I actually just looked today, and I've worked with 11 module makers already, on sponsored content. Not just featuring their modules, but actually collaborating with them, which that seems like a lot. I feel like for me, in the first year. I'm already monetized. I have an affiliate thing going with Perfect Circuit. I think it's super positive. I think my channel has grown really, quickly. I think, and it's all because of the community, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've also had a bunch of interviews already with people, right? Those
Yeah.
really. So you've got interview content, you've got gear reviews, you had some gear comparisons. Any idea, looking forward, do you want to keep this kind of variety, or is there something you want to lean into more than the other?
I think the comparison videos do really well because it's with my kick drum video, I was comparing across two videos, I think 18 kick drums. So if someone's interested in one, they're going to come for that and then maybe stay for another one, right? So there's a lot of sort of entrance points.
Yes.
I just did one that featured the IDUM that was called Who's Your IDM Overlord? And I tested a bunch of modules in an IDM context.
Interesting.
So I had the Stolper beats in there. I didn't have the Rook in there, but I think that would be really good for IDM as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think what else fits in that category.
Yeah. The IDUM, and then what was the other one? I'll think of it in a second.
Something
Yeah, if you're-
the Drum Kid.
Okay.
from Bradshaw
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Instruments.
yeah.
That's his first module as well. And he's already in like Perfect Circuit, so I think he's doing pretty well too. But yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, I've gotten some feedback from module makers I've worked with, and I know like what they sort of moved as far as numbers because of directly the videos, and that just makes me happy because I'm changing their bottom line and I'm supporting the community that I care about and this kind of world, and you know that maybe enables them to make the next module, which I'll then of course want to use. You know, so it's just a great feedback loop. You know.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about this community is how tightly knit you can be from a creator standpoint. Even if you aren't trying to be someone on YouTube, you can still influence and interact with makers and creators of all types.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked for 2 decades in post production, and you know, just revisions are the name of the game. And with these videos, the makers are just so happy to get this piece of content, you know, that there's just no revisions really, you know, and kind of like I actually send it to them ahead of uploading it to just have them check for accuracy, because I think that's important, and I definitely don't want to put anything out there that's inaccurate, like because the modular community also will let you know.
Yeah.
That's the other thing,
sure.
you know.
You said that everyone's modular makers are happy to get feedback from anyone, regardless of whether they have a YouTube channel. I just want to clarify. Seaside Modular doesn't talk to anyone who doesn't have at least 2,000 followers on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's good.
He's only talking to me because I'm on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Weeding out the lower end.
Stu, did you see anything of Buchla Friends that you really liked?
Yeah, I did pick up. I didn't get it at Buchla and Friends, but kind of because of Buchla and Friends, the new noise engineering repetitor module.
Numeric repetitor.
Yeah,
People seem very excited about that thing.
Yeah, and
They had a sweet little drum case that you could play around with that kit on their table for a while and have a good time.
I just got lost on that thing.
That could be another good candidate for IDM as well.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
So that is a combination of their previous numeric repetitor and the Zolaric repetitor.
Right.
That
It's called multi-repetitor.
Multi-repetitor. There you go.
But it had like the African and Indian rhythms that were mixed in there, and that's the part that has always interested me in that Zolaric repetitor. And I talked to Stephen about it a little bit, where he got those Indian rhythms from, and he just pulled them out of a tabla machine. And you know, I have this VCV rack module that is basically a tabla machine that might eventually make its way into your rack.
Oh.
What kind of machine did you say?
Tabla.
Oh, tabla.
Yeah.
Like a
tabla drum.
Yeah, so like when you're practicing in Indian music, you do a lot of, there's a culture of practice that's insane, where you just got to repetitively play the same melody over and over for like 10 hours, literally. So you can't have some guy sitting there on the tabla playing for 10 hours. So you would have like a little machine that would just like rhythmically repeat, and you have like, in the machine, it's like a little electronic sampler basically that has all the Indian rhythms programmed into it, and you can just with like the little up arrow, down arrow, select which one you want, let it go for
I also ordered, this is nothing new, but that little light show 2 HP module that you
the Vasky lights.
Oh yeah.
I ordered that.
It's a really
what does that do?
it just lights up for the most part. But what it does is 2 HP, you put a signal in, and there's a bunch of different visualizations of that signal. So it can be a spectrum, it can be like levels, but it also can be a tuner.
Yep.
So it has a bunch of different uses. I keep them in my cases at shows just for some visual interests.
Yeah. I'm often left with 2 HP to spare.
Yeah.
Perfect thing to pop
Better
in
than
there.
a blank, right?
Better than a blank.
If you got 4 HP, you can have 2 of them.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. I also like this, by the way, just going back to the noise engine, the new noise engineering module. I kind of like it. I think it's just the right size for that kind of module. It just felt comfortable to play with and to jam on a little bit.
With that one too, it's like it's more about the interface, that they kind of changed that up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that it sort of brings to the table.
Yep.
It's not just combining the two.
There was
modules.
something else in their case on the table. I won't say what it's called because I think that they were being chill about it. Something that'll likely be coming out soon. That seems.
Was it larger than 3 HP but smaller than 5 HP?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. I thought, it really hits a sweet spot. So I'm looking forward to talking about that, and I think they've expressed an interest in being on our show, so we'd love to have them soon.
Speaking of noise engineering folks being on our show, it was nice to see our friend Patrick O'Brien.
Yeah.
And
Shout
I
out,
wanted to talk to Tristan, who is doing an album in collaboration with POB. I think
nice.
Like a split album. So could you tell us how that came about and how it's going?
Yeah, I really literally just kind of approached him one day. He and we've played together, I think, on 1 or 2 shows. He's also come down to New York to perform for a NIMS show, which was an incredible performance. And
NIM is
NIMS is New York Modular Society. So that's an organization that I'm a part of. It's sort of like SoCal Synth Society and
Colorado
LA Synth Club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've just had an enormous respect for his music. I own a lot of noise engineering modules, so I'm very familiar with his videos as well. And I just approached him and I'm like, hey man, like I think this would be really cool if we did like a split EP. You know, I'll make 3 tracks, you make 3 tracks, and then potentially we could remix one of each other's tracks.
That's cool.
Yeah, for a total of 8 tracks.
That's cool.
And now I'm thinking actually like, so typically with a split EP, you would have one artist go and then the other artist, but I'm thinking like we interweave it, you know, so it's like one of his tracks, one of my tracks, one of his tracks, you know, to sort of create more of like a mesh between our styles.
Have you heard each other's tracks? Is there interaction, or are you just doing it? You're going to make these 3 tracks on your own, and then
I made them in isolation. All 3 of mine are finished. I am waiting to hear back from him this week, and he's going to send me some stuff because I'm sort of ready to remix one of his. Look, this is like a totally extracurricular thing. We didn't really set a hard deadline on it. We were like, let's check in January and just like kind of see where we're at, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, I think we're aiming for like an early spring release for that.
Oh, it's a great concept. I feel like you like to stay busy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm very busy.
Yeah.
also you finish things. I mean, this is a topic that comes up quite a lot with modular musicians. A lot of us that just like mess around and make stuff temporarily. To make an album like you have every year takes a different kind of mindset. You have to at least flip into the mindset where you're editing and goal-directed activity. How do you keep yourself doing that? How have you been so prolific in that way?
Yeah, I think part of it is the STEM workflow, which I've been into since the beginning. I had the ES8 basically the first version of my modular system, which allows me to get 4 separate tracks into the computer. And then of course, you know, I got the output module, so I have 2 more. So I felt like, okay, well, 6 channels, that's probably enough that all that I need kind of thing at one time. I think using a DAW is pretty crucial to me because I really think of anytime I do a jam on the modular or create something in hardware, that's sort of the raw footage.
Right.
And then Ableton is where I make the film, you know, so that's where like the work actually happens.
Yeah.
Do you use the push with that?
I don't actually. I used to have the Ableton Push 2, and I tried a bunch of different controllers and I just found that I just don't use them. I'm just really fast with the Wacom and the keyboard, and that's just kind of how I work, you know?
Stu's in a phase of delving into the push 3, so he's curious. He's push curious.
Yeah.
How is that going? You started already?
Yeah, it's going well. It's going well. But, you know, now and then I'll take a breather from the course and just try to accomplish something on my own. So I think I had mentioned in a previous episode, speaking of the Forgay Tome Vich.
Oh, yeah, God.
The guy who cuts my hair listens to the podcast, and he asked me to record a pad with it, and I sent it to him, and he sent it back to me with killer rhythms on it, and so now I'm layering some synths on top of that, but I'm trying to do it with the Push 3, and it took me 2 hours the other night just to figure out how to get it from Ableton into the Push 3.
Yeah.
Not the project itself, but the sounds and the, okay, got to download the pack, not just on the Push 3, but also in Ableton. Anyway, it's coming along. It's coming along. I'm forcing myself to keep going.
That's cool.
Yeah. I find that I never get past this point with controllers.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
it's
like,
it's
enough,
like I'm
I could
already
just do this.
Yeah, like just do it with the Wacom, you know, like.
Yeah.
But no, it's super powerful, and I don't denigrate it at all. Like I think it's you could do some awesome stuff with it, and then you could just take it with you to go. And
That's the idea.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
it's pretty nice. And like I would imagine that offloads a lot of modules too, because you could just have it, you know, and doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Has it been offloading any modules? Has it?
I saw you shooting me these cynical looks over there.
No, that's good. No, my favorite. We were talking about
them into the Push.
We were talking about Surge and Paperface and how it was attainable. And then somebody mentioned it was like 5 Gs for a 2-rack row, and I'm like, I think the word attainable is being skewed slightly on this podcast.
By the way, we talked about Surge last week, and then we encountered at Buchla Friends someone brought an original Surge, one of Surge's Surge cases there with the original yellowing paper face.
That's
So
right.
really
That's cool.
By
to
the
see.
Buchla corner.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. shove it over there.
To your earlier point too, like I definitely want to make some content about how modular artists specifically can kind of create tracks and finish tracks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like part of the practice of being a musician is shepherding the music to a point where you're like, you know what, I like this enough, and I've sort of mulled it over and worked it enough where I'm proud of this and I want to release it and I want it out there in the world. And it's just a completely different experience to get like feedback from your music. Like a lot of people will say like, oh man, I didn't even know you were making music, you know? And so it's like this kind of thing where you're inhabiting like this other space, you know? I personally think it's really important for people to finish music. You know?
Bill Get Still. Do you know Bill?
Yeah.
He finishes tracks like a champ.
Yeah.
Did you, I don't know if you remember guy, Second Breakfast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second Breakfast.
That sounds
Yeah.
familiar. Who is that guy?
Killer tracks.
I
He was on the
mean-
Div Kid Discord. He was quite active for a while during the COVID era. And I think he really showed people what can be accomplished with modular. Anytime
Not
somebody
only
says, you can't make music with modular, it's like, oh yeah, have you seen what this guy's doing?
Right.
Not only his tracks, but his videos.
Incredible.
Incredibly skilled visual
Second
designer.
Breakfast.
Maybe
Yeah.
eating
Hope you're doing
breakfast
well.
really is important.
Him and Build. That's what I remember those two guys. Yeah, I feel like that actually might kind of be a theme because falling off my feed the other day, I think Monotrail, he literally his new thing is, can I finish a track, a piece of music, and that's his whole new video is I've got X amount of time and I'm going to use modular. I'm going to finish a track, and that's what the track is going to be.
Does he release music regularly or?
I don't believe so. He's more of an educator
Right.
as far as
Right,
like
he's
the
great.
I love his
the-
channel.
yeah,
I
as far
love
as
his
like the
channel.
tripod. But I think this is a new thing for him this year.
Great.
So that'll be pretty cool to see. And I know we've talked about
Yeah.
that internally, is taking a step back from acquisition and expansion and actually focusing on, you know, I always joke about the analogy of a lot of people times it's like if modular synthesis were chefs, they'd just be like showing, check out my new empty pan and check out my knife, but you wouldn't see any food being made with it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the practice of finishing things is so important.
It's so important. I was coming from, before I got into modular, I was coming from this other community where it was a lot of like in the box producers, you know, using software and, you know, maybe like a controller or a hardware synth and stuff. And, you know, they were all talking about, I'm working on this track, I'm finishing this album, you know. And then when I sort of joined NIMS, it was actually surprising for me to realize that finishing tracks wasn't sort of like the default. You know, like some people used, they turned on the modular for musical therapy, basically. You know, they had a tough day at work, they would tune in and just like move the knobs, and that was their thing, you know. Or, you know, they would just make jams and upload them to YouTube. You know, no mixing or anything like that.
Which
So
is also fine.
Definitely guilty
yeah,
of jams.
totally cool. But it was such a shift for me because I was like, whoa, this is like a totally different section of like music, you know, and music makers, you know.
Yeah, but you've got some super talented people in NIMS.
Yeah, for sure.
Dissonant, Crew Called Self, just a whole bunch of people who are putting out some cool
I
stuff.
know all those guys. They're super close friends to me. I think that's what makes us like really strong, because there's a bunch of us in the sort of like administration end of it, and that's how we're able to sort of like pull together and put events together and all this kind of stuff, you know.
Do you come from a musical family?
My dad, he had this like he had a dedicated like music room. I don't know. My parents were not musical per se. My dad is like an engineer and my mom is a photographer. So I think that combines like really
You had like
well.
a music listening room? Or?
Yeah, he had a music listening room where he had like a huge hi-fi, and the one wall was just completely all CDs. So it was like, you know, just hundreds and hundreds. Unfortunately, 95% of it was like classical music, you know. So it's like, so that's kind of
Unless
where
you're
that
into
goes,
classical, then it's
right?
great.
Unless you're, yeah. And then there was like Ray Charles and Beach Boys, you know. It's like it's like so random in a sense, you know, like why them? And you know, but yeah, it sort of created or inculcated this thing where music was a sort of like sacred activity, you know, and it was just understood that my sister and I would not like roughhouse in that room, you know. It was like, and that's also where the piano was, right? Of course, so. Yeah.
I wonder now, with kids growing up with all the screens and all the, you know, just information and attention span getting massacred on a daily basis, having a listening room could affect youth growing up, or just a space where it's time for some more serious.
Wish I had space for a listening room.
Yeah.
That
That would be nice. But that's an idea. It's an interesting idea to have that space where you're like, you know, this isn't super serious, but this is a space where we're not playing around. We're doing something with intent.
Kind of
Yeah, I think-
mindful listening.
Yeah. I think most of the time you're doing something else while you listen to music, right? And so it's kind of that shift, I guess. What was always funny growing up is that, you know, classical music doesn't really use like compression that much. So the quiet parts are really quiet. So he would turn it up, and then the bombastic like section would come in, and my mom would always scream at him to like turn it down. You know, it's just like just a funny memory that would always happen too. You know, 'cause, yeah.
That's interesting. Did you grow up on the East Coast?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just like mainly in Pennsylvania, and I've now been living in New York for over half my life, which is just a crazy statistic. I feel like, regardless of how old I am, you know, it's like half of my existence has been there.
And you have a new mayor.
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
The opposite. I spent the first half of my life in New York, and then I've been out here since then. So it's crazy to me that I've been out here for half my life.
The mayor, you know, TBD. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, just we have to.
I wasn't diving into that, promise.
We don't have a lot of time left. I have a sort of an important question here. Like, are you the kind of person who cares a lot about the panels on your modular? Do you switch them out? You know, like Circle wants them all to be black. Do you just take the module as it is, or do you put custom panels on?
I don't put custom panels on. I will prefer black, but I'm not like one of those people that has to have the all black system. I just feel like.
Have you ever changed a panel?
One time for yours.
Okay.
That's the only time.
And was it difficult to do?
It kind of was, yeah.
Okay. Would it have been nice if you had, I don't know, like
a tool or something?
A specialized tool set just for this purpose?
The only panel you thought was, you know what? I don't like that panel.
Yeah. It's just your panel.
Yeah,
No, because I wanted more details. No, I wanted the more details on
what
it.
you needed was the submarine tool set from Seaside Modular, which, you know, with its carbon fiber reinforced tips, allow you to so easily and handily just remove those stubborn nuts.
And they do look like little submarines.
They do look like little submarines.
Adorable.
They're
Honestly,
actually caught in the deep Pacific Ocean.
This is honestly way better than hawking vitamin supplements. Just remember that, guys. You know, like
They are choking hazards.
There's nothing like removing, you know, getting a pair of needle nose pliers and just going across one of your face plates, and you're like, oh god.
Where can I get those?
You can go to seaside.digital and find them there.
I wish they came in pink.
They do come in pink.
Oh.
Just for you.
What
Wow,
a surprise.
nice.
Golly.
This is amazing.
Tristan, thank you so much for joining us. We've wanted to have you on for a while. So it's great that we got to do it in person as well.
I had a blast, man. This was like so much fun to me.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm excited about the POB project. That sounds fantastic. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to put links to Metamyther's YouTube channel down below, and to your albums and anything else you want. Anything else you want to say for signing off?
No, just thanks for having me. And hopefully this year's going to be really good for gear, you know?
Right on.
Yeah. Gear and putting out finished music.
Yes.
Yeah.
And finished podcasts.
Yeah, finished podcast. This is our second episode of the year. We got 12 out last year, right? Okay, cool. Maybe we can do a similar amount, or maybe a tiny bit more. Maybe do 13, 14 this year.
Stretch goals.
Yeah, stretch goals.
All right, everyone. Catch you on the next one.
Wait.
Thanks,
At
everyone.
Rat Pack Podcast on Instagram. You gotta remember that last one. All right. Bye, everybody.